In the heart of a sprawling metropolis, where neon lights and ancient shadows coexisted in uneasy harmony, an unsettling secret slithered through the urban maze like a dark undercurrent. The city, an ever-changing labyrinth of towering structures and forgotten alleyways, concealed a history steeped in mystery and whispered legends. Among these legends, one tale stirred unease even in the most hardened hearts, a tale of a promise sealed in blood and shadow, spoken in hushed tones by those who dared to remember. It was said that a crooked figure, known only as the Crooked Man, had once traversed the city's darkest corners. This narrative unfolds with the appearance of an ambitious young detective, whose skeptical mind was drawn to the city's enigmatic past after the sudden, suspicious disappearance of a prominent city figure. With determination burning like an ember in his deep-set eyes, he embarked on a perilous journey. Here, every shadow told a story. Every whispered rumor held a kernel of truth. In a city where influential elites built their empires on dark, unspoken bargains, even the faintest murmur carried the weight of destiny. The detective's quest was more than a mere investigation. It was a plunge into the enigmatic depths. Amid the labyrinthine streets where the neon glow contended with the encroaching dark, he encountered fragments of strange occurrences. Bizarre symbols etched on crumbling walls, cryptic messages left in the fog, and fleeting silhouettes that vanished before one could truly behold their form. All pointed toward a singular, horrifying reality. This was the realm where legends came alive, where the promise of the Crooked Man awaited, hidden in the interstices of light and dark, ready to exact a price that was more than just fleeting fear. Thus, the stage was set for a journey where ancient lore and modern skepticism would collide with inevitable consequence. The detective, a figure carved from the quiet resolve of a determined spirit, began his quest amid an atmosphere thick with mistrust and half-forgotten histories. He was not swayed by idle superstition, yet the subtle rhythm of urban legends had always danced at the periphery of his rational mind. Every measured step he took down rain-slicked sidewalks echoed a promise of revelation, a promise that might expose the sordid connections woven into the fabric of the city's power structure. In his diligent review of archival records and whispered rumors, he uncovered cryptic hints that even the elite among the affluent shared a hidden compulsion. Every unfolding piece of evidence painted the portrait of a city with a double life, a metropolis that thrived on contracts made in dimly lit rooms and promises sealed by sinister forces. Mysterious benefactors and clandestine gatherings emerged from dusty archives, hinting at the existence of a network of secret alliances. Legends told of a time when power was derived not solely from wealth, but from bargains unbound by earthly laws. As he attended long-forgotten ceremonies, the detective observed symbols and rituals that had long been abandoned by ordinary men, now preserved by those who walked the line between light and darkness. His journey through the urban depths was marked both by breakthroughs and by harrowing setbacks. The haunting feeling that ancient destinies were inextricably linked with the present permeated every encounter, every whispered confession in the corridors of power, urging him deeper into a world where the boundaries of reality and myth had blurred. Intrigued by the swirl of relations between power and myth, the detective delved into the city's underbelly with cautious determination. With every document scrutinized and every hidden symbol deciphered, his sense of duty intertwined with an uneasy realization that the legacy of past pacts might one day demand its reckoning. Every clue deepened his resolve, igniting a hope that unraveling these intertwined mysteries could restore balance to a city haunted by its own dark bargains. In the ensuing days, the detective's investigation took him through a tapestry of interconnected secrets. He wandered through mist-laden streets where every brick, every stone seemed to whisper the city's forgotten tales. The narrow passages, illuminated only by the occasional flicker of a street lamp, revealed fleeting artifacts, a rusted key, a torn scrap of vintage cloth, and enigmatic carvings resembling ancient sigils. As he meticulously recorded each detail, the detective felt the spectral pulse of an omen growing stronger, as though the past and the present were converging. In quiet moments of reflection, beneath the indifferent gaze of towering skyscrapers, he pieced together fragments of conversations overheard in hushed tones at late-night taverns. Their implications implied secret meetings held in shadowed corridors, where influential figures exchanged subtle glances and unspoken promises. In these dim spaces, the air was tinged with apprehension, the kind that presaged revelations far more harrowing than simple disappearances. The detective's analytical mind cataloged each anomaly, each inexplicable occurrence as a stepping stone toward a larger, more sinister reality. Wandering into a forgotten quarter of the city, the detective found an abandoned estate, veiled in the murk of neglect and time. In its crumbling walls, faded murals depicted allegories of eternal bargains between mortal men and forces beyond mortal comprehension. The very architecture seemed to pulse with a secret life, a reminder that the blessings and curses of old still resonated within the city's foundations. Here, in the silent ruins of what once was, his investigative instincts surged, as he uncovered a hidden diary filled with cryptic entries. Each line of the diary hinted at clandestine pacts and revealed the unyielding grip of a presence long believed to be mere folklore. The detective's growing obsession with these forgotten documents and obscure symbols transformed his quest from a rational pursuit into an inward journey into the realms of the uncanny. Every piece of evidence, whispered, silently pressed him to re-examine his skepticism and confront the idea that some promises, no matter how shrouded in myth, are forged in the depths of human desperation. The more he delved into these mysteries, the clearer it became. The crooked man's promise was not just a relic of a bygone era, but a living, breathing force shaping the destiny of the city. Compelled by a mix of dread and determination, he forged ahead into the unknown, each step uncovering layers of history and enigma that bound his fate ever tighter to the curse that haunted every shadowy corner of the urban sprawl. With each passing moment, the veil between reality and myth grew thinner, drawing him inexorably towards an eventual confrontation with the ancient force that governed this hidden realm. Night descended like a shroud over the city, and with its arrival came a palpable change in the atmosphere, an eerie silence that seemed to promise the unfolding of secret deeds. The detective ventured into the oldest quarters, where the street names were seldom spoken aloud, and the buildings bore the scars of centuries-old conflicts. In these forgotten neighborhoods, the air was heavy with the residue of ancient vows and unspeakable transactions. The detective's footsteps echoed under the weight of history, each step resonating with the memories of those who had bargained their futures to unknown entities. In a dimly lit corridor, the detective uncovered a mural that depicted a surreal convergence of human ambition and supernatural dread. The fresco, though faded by time, vividly portrayed figures in archaic attire clasping hands with a twisted, spectral visage, a portrayal that some believed was the infamous Crooked Man. This chilling image conjured visions of finality and retribution, reminding him of the inevitable price of promises made in darkness. The detailed brushstrokes and cryptic glyphs on the wall told a tale of uneasy alliances, of fortunes won and lost, and of lives forever marred by deals struck in secret pacts. Compelled by a mix of intellectual curiosity and a deep-seated unease, the detective retraced his steps to places noted in the diary. He navigated a labyrinth of abandoned warehouses and silent corridors beneath the city, where echoes of distant voices seemed to murmur caution and warning. In these subterranean labyrinths, the detective felt as though time itself bent to serve the will of the unseen authority that governed every grim transaction. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision, and the interplay of light and dark conjured ephemeral shapes that vanished as soon as they appeared. The atmosphere was laden with an otherworldly presence, a constant reminder that the ancient bargain was very much alive. Moving deeper into the underbelly of the metropolis, the detective encountered relics that spoke of both decay and unyielding power. He discovered a series of intricate, weathered symbols etched into stone pillars of a forgotten hall, each marking an altar of past rituals. In this sanctum of degraded grandeur, he observed that time had not been kind, yet the remnants of past ceremonies resonated with a haunting vitality. The symbols, though eroded by the relentless march of time, still pulsed with a mysterious energy, each line and curve hinting at a complex narrative of sacrifice and redemption. Throughout his journey in the shifting shadows of a city built on both trust and treachery, the detective began to realize that every choice he made was tightening the noose around his own destiny. The echoes of the crooked man's promise, woven seamlessly into the fabric of the urban legend, now entwined with his every step. It was in this realm, where the pall of ancient secrets clashed with the modern thirst for power, that he finally felt face to face with the true nature of the bargain, an inescapable contract inscribed in the very soul of the city, haunted by visions of spectral figures and the weight of irrevocable promises. The detective sensed that every step forward was a step deeper into an irretrievable fate, engraved by the hands of forgotten deities.
This final act loomed as destiny written in darkness. As the investigative trail led ever deeper into the city's obscure veins, every revelation ignited both dread and determination in the detective's heart. The once firm boundaries of his rational beliefs began to crumble beneath the relentless force of inexplicable events.
The crisp night air, heavy with secrets, echoed with the unspoken promise of impending confrontation. In the flickering glow of street lamps, the detective wandered through abandoned districts, where the ghosts of past transgressions whispered in mournful tones. His steps were guided by the interplay of conscious thought and an emerging intuition that defied logic. Each symbol etched into the urban landscape became a cryptic clue, pointing towards an ultimate reckoning. Within the silent walls of neglected buildings and deserted tunnels, the detective discovered evidence that the powerful elite of the city had long ensnared themselves in dark, irrevocable bargains. Every mystifying mark, every forbidden inscription, unveiled a corridor into a history of hidden pacts and unyielding loyalty to forces beyond mortal reach. The path of his inquiry twisted into realms where trust was a luxury, and the currency was the very essence of one's soul. The detective now felt an inescapable pull, as though the living shadows beckoned him to unearth a truth that would irrevocably alter the course of destiny. In this escalating struggle between tangible reality and insidious myth, time itself appeared to bend. The faint murmur of ancient rituals reverberated through desolate corridors, merging with modern clamor to create a dissonant symphony of fear and hope. Each step further unraveled the intricate tapestry woven by centuries of secrets, binding him closer to an inevitable climax. And in that climactic moment, the true cost of the crooked man's promise would be revealed, a price that had been etched, silently and inexorably, into the fabric of the very city. Venturing further, the detective's mind raced with possibilities as fragments of the past intertwined with present warnings. Each discovered relic and faded inscription deepened the mystery, urging him to confront truths he once dismissed as mere legend. The corridors of power, hidden behind facades of modernity, echoed with the footsteps of those who had succumbed to the lure of forbidden bargains. In this uneasy twilight, his resolve hardened against the encroaching tide of darkness. Every new detail, every subtle shift in the city's heartbeat, reaffirmed that his fate was irrevocably bound to the promise made in shadows. In the aftermath of his relentless pursuit, the detective found himself engulfed in a silence that resonated with both relief and foreboding. The labyrinth of clues had led him to a confrontation with the intangible forces that had long manipulated the city's fate from the shadows. In the recesses of an abandoned hall, amidst relics of a forgotten era, the very air seemed to murmur secrets of mortality and redemption. The evidence laid bare the brutal truth. The illustrious figures of the city had all paid their dues long ago by submitting to the dark pact of the crooked man. Their empires, built on the fragile foundation of human ambition and spectral deals, now crumbled under the weight of their hidden transgressions. In that desolate chamber, the detective's introspection deepened as he grappled with the profound implications of the revelations. The intricate web of deceit, meticulously woven over generations, revealed that survival in the city came at an unimaginable cost, a cost measured not in coins, but in the integrity of one's very soul. History had recorded these sacrifices in cryptic symbols and secret accords. Now those same marks of betrayal and hope were reflected in the tear-streaked faces of those who remained. Yet, even as the echoes of treachery began to subside, a lingering dread cast long shadows over the detective's spirit. A sense of inevitability settled in his bones, a quiet acknowledgement that the promise of the crooked man was eternal, recurring with every generation that dared to wield power. In the convergence of past and present, the truth emerged as an immutable force, reminding him that every dark deed has a price to be paid, and every promise made in the murk of twilight comes with an everlasting debt. With heavy resolve, the detective stepped away from the ruins, carrying with him the weight of knowledge and the unyielding certainty that destiny, once intertwined with the supernatural, is an inescapable legacy. Walking away into the bleak morning, he carried the somber truth that every hidden transaction and every whispered deal left scars on the very soul of the metropolis, a constant reminder of the price of ambition. In that desolate dawn, the echo of every lost promise and every dark secret reverberated through his very being, forging an unbreakable bond between his past, his present, and the ominous future that awaited. His heart beat in time with fate,